Welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, January 13th, 2017. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Representatives of local and regional social security and financial institutions came together today at the NIS conference room to participate in a financial symposium aimed at reviewing economic and financial challenges facing the region as it channels a way forward. We hear more about the event in this report from Nikita Tony.
Providing a platform for the discussion of achieving even greater sustainable economic growth and development, local and regional social security and financial market stakeholders were earlier today, Friday, January 13th, involved in a financial symposium hosted by SVG's National Insurance Services, NIS, under the theme Financial and Economic Challenges Facing the Caribbean and the Way Forward. Today's event, according to the Executive Director of the NIS, Reginald Thomas, emphasizes the importance of assessing the economic strength, well-being, and soundness of the Caribbean as a way of ensuring the stability of social security services. Outlining the concept of synergy among financial institutions, Thomas stressed the need to examine how critical subsectors of the financial market are to the overall importance of the economies throughout the region.
We draw our lifeblood from the subsectors, and our lifeblood comes again from employment levels, labor force participation rate, and what happens within the labor market. Together we can examine what is happening and how the sum of the parts fit the whole, and what is the health of the whole.
Highlighting that concepts such as industrialization by invitation and the availability of other economic models must be addressed when paving the way forward, Thomas also called for more attention to be paid to the issue of the health of the people, as this too can affect how financial institutions function.
We are seeing double amputations at 30 and 35 years old. Why? How could someone be living in a way that allows them to be a double amputee at 35, certainly between 35 and 40? What does that mean for the productive sector? How do we change the operating dynamics to ensure now that such persons are retooled and reskilled to return to work? And what does that mean for the various entities represented here as it relates to access?
Pointing out some of the issues plaguing the region's economic growth, Chairman of the National Insurance Board, Lennox Bowman, noted that the survivability of the local and regional social security protection services is determined on the global economic and demographic realities. He also called on a more collaborative approach in dealing with the effects of natural disasters on regional economies.
Openness and resource narrowness of the regional economic space magnifies the vulnerabilities of regional social security systems to internal economic developments and other external shocks. The Caribbean islands need to come together and have a serious look at some kind of stabilization funds, because the way these disasters are coming these days, there is no one country that could really sustain the blow. So we say we are Caribbean people, we have to think Caribbean and act Caribbean.
It is expected that participants at today's event will transfer the knowledge learned within their institutions so that altogether they can better achieve financial stability and soundness across the region. Nikita Tony reporting for SVG-TV News.
Structured to bring further clarity and insight on the global economic challenges which influence the World Bank's projected economic growth of 2.7 in 2017, the NIS's Financial Symposium held earlier today is expected to present possible solutions which will aid in the shaping of the upcoming global economic time. Speaking at the event's opening ceremony, Chairman of the National Insurance Board, Lennox Bowman, pointed out that numerous economic challenges threaten the stability and soundness of the social security systems here in SVG and more so the entire Caribbean region. Bowman noted that along with the economic battles plaguing social security, the region also has to grapple with the risk facing healthcare systems.
It's evident that health challenges are emerging as the regional population gets older and lifestyle changes. In my estimation, never before has primary health care been more critical if we are to really control health costs. When I listen to a lot of budgets across the region, I'm hearing expenditure, expenditure, expenditure in health costs. I wanted to shift your thinking from looking at it as an expense as an investment.
Calling for more attention to be placed on safeguarding the financial decisions of the older generation, Bowman pointed out that social media will also pose a challenge of social security.
Older people are being taken advantage of financially. They are befriended by good friends, by family. They are taken in their weaker moments. They are taken to financial institutions to do transactions that, in my opinion, they have influenced greatly. And we have to find ways in the Caribbean to deal with that. And we have to work with the powers that be. We have to be very serious when it comes to what we allow our children to do on social media. They are not being influenced anymore by what happens in the classroom or on the school compound. They are like loners in these places where they are really active and where the social interaction is taking place is in that different world called social media. As a social security, we have to prepare for the backlash of these things.
The chair of the NIS board further urged all regional social security institutions to come together to get solutions to issues affecting the sector.
And then say to ourselves, oh, we know all these things are to be done, but we won't resource it. We make a lot of good decisions, set up committees, and don't resource them. And if you can't resource them, how you expect the work to get done? So I am urging that we really move towards setting up some kind of secretariat which will deal primarily with these project-type issues, because we have all the brain power that we need. What we don't, if we think we don't have, Dr. Carl and people like himself not far away.
Government is taking a modern approach to the administration of healthcare to the Vincentian public. So says Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Luke Brown, as he spoke on a local radio program yesterday. Brown noted that organizations such as the Pan American Health Organization and the World Health Organization have been promoting quality health care for all, and the Ministry of Health is emulating this effort through its work. The Health Minister expressed excitement at an announcement made by the Prime Minister, which would see the passing of legislation to enhance mental health care here.
We have a lot more in store, and the Prime Minister right there and then on the site in Glen signaled that in this upcoming year, in this year, well, it was last year we had that. So he signaled that in this year, 2017, on the legislative agenda, as will be reflected in the throne speech, we are going to put emphasis on having modern legislation to complement what is happening in respect of the modern building. So we don't want the building that we have to take care of our patients to be out of sync with the laws that we have. We can't have a 21st century building but have laws that are archaic and out of date. We're going to bring them in sync with each other, and that will be another step in the right direction. We're moving down the right road.
Brown said he is also happy that the issue of national health insurance for the Vincentian people is being carefully examined.
And you know, there are a lot of big things coming up. One of the things I particularly look forward to participating in is the discussion about healthcare financing and the question of national health insurance and how that could be incorporated in the current arrangements that we have right now. I know that Barbados has done some work in this respect. I know that some work in terms of consulting stakeholders in this respect. Just last year, when I was passing through Barbados at some point, I saw that they had a report about consultations that were about to take place. So I know that they have done some work, and I know that there have been studies in St. Vincent about the question of national health insurance, and this year we're going to take that process forward. In fact, a commission has already been set up and they're going to do their work.
Brang further pointed out that the ministry has been doing its utmost to ensure that all Vincentians receive proper health care.
Build on the foundations which are set out by our constitution, because you know the constitution itself lays the foundation for society. It sets up a foundation of rights and freedoms, and what we're going to do effectively is build on that foundation by elaborating a certain set of rights and responsibilities that apply to our patients, that tells them what they could expect in their interactions with the healthcare system, that says to them that we are committed to lifting their health to its highest possible state, that we are going to follow the best practices, and that we are going to be a confidant to you when you are in your moment of crisis or moment of need. So we have legislation that is going to reflect a modern approach to dealing with some of these things.
The World Pediatric Project first mission of 2017 in St. Vincent and the Grenadines has been deemed a success by lead surgeon Dr. Jeffrey Lukish. He told SVG-TV News in a telephone interview that during the week-long mission, his team of 5 was able to successfully conduct 11 surgeries.
Very well. We proceeded very nicely. We needed our anesthesiologist because of the snowstorm on the East Coast got here a little late. We utilized the anesthesia team that's on the island here at Milton Cato, and we were able to function very well. Our anesthesiologist arrived on Tuesday, and we completed 11 operations during our stay here and did over 50 evaluations of children that will continue in our program and will evaluate over the next several missions when we return to St. Vincent's. But overall, I'm very pleased with the way the mission went. I'm very pleased with our outcomes and our results. All the children recovered nicely and are doing quite well.
Meantime, Director of the World Pediatric Project for the Eastern Caribbean, Jacqueline Brown-King, said she is happy that the first mission this year went as planned, adding that the patients are responding to the treatment positively.
Excellent. I think we achieved what was set out. As a matter of fact, we probably overachieved in terms because we saw some new cases. So in terms of numbers, we started with 13 cases. We ended up with 15, with one case that out of Barbados that they felt should be deferred until the second mission. All of the children did very well. Most of them went out on the second day. The 3 bigger cases with the 3 cholecystectomies and the gynecomastia with the mastectomy, those ones will stay a couple of days. All 15 cases will be reported on and sent back to the World Pediatric Project so that there is some continuity in terms of the care so that they will know how well are these children doing.
King admitted that though it was a hectic week, the team functioned with the highest level of professionalism.
I think it went very well because the planning for these cases, they send their equipment and other supplies in country, and the PACU and the OR nurses were able to prep the day before, following each surgical day. They will prep in terms of getting the sterilization in place and so on for the next day. And of course, anesthetist, anesthesiologist, he came in late, but he picked up where our local Dr. Mandel and team left off. So everybody was on board. They followed through the cases, and the in-country staff, Dr. Ellis, Dr. Data and her team were able to pick up and ensure that all of the cases had the appropriate management in place so that the follow-through was very evident. And yes, we have 1 week to do it, and yes, it was done. And yes, all the cases are doing very well, ambulating. The parents, of course, communication was facilitated after each case, so they knew what was done, what the findings were, and what the plan will be for each child.
As efforts continue here to implement strategies geared toward the reduction of mosquito-borne diseases, several persons are more equipped with the knowledge and skills to tackle the issue. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment, in collaboration with the Pan-American Health Organization, PAHO, held a two-day workshop which sought to raise awareness and provide information on Zika and the Aedes aegypti mosquito reduction strategies. PAHO's advisor for sustainable development, Sally Edwards, said environmental control is of vital importance and requires the involvement of every citizen.
The motto that you all have, that your health a shared responsibility, is extremely important because environmental health needs and vector control needs the work of every citizen of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in order to be effective. No longer are we in the days when we can expect all vector control to be just done by vector control officers. It's too big a task for the few of you that there are. Everybody needs to play their part and their role.
She added that the workshop should help develop the participants' knowledge so as to help educate others.
And part of your role is to help explain that and to guide people based on your expertise and your knowledge, and use your training and your knowledge to encourage them to help themselves and protect their own health. It's for them that we are working, and it's for their health and by extension our own health, but principally you're trying to help them.
The PAHO advisor pointed out that mosquito-borne diseases are not limited to physical constraints, noting the economy also suffers.
The effects of the disease aren't only getting the disease, but it has an economic impact on everybody. That people who get sick need to buy medication, they might be off work, not earning, but for society as a whole, because of the costs for the healthcare system. So it's not only about stopping them feeling ill, it's also stopping the downward cycle of poverty if they're having to spend a lot of money on healthcare. We can all stop ourselves getting the disease, and we can all do our part to stop breeding in and around our houses. We must always lead by example, but we must use our knowledge, our expertise, and our communication with the communities within which you work, so that they also help themselves.
Family, friends, government officials and others came together on Thursday, January 12, 2017 to reflect on the memories of the 7 rock gutter victims who lost their lives in a tragic accident 2 years ago. Early in the day on Thursday, several family members returned to the spot, laying wreaths where the vehicle which was transporting the students to school on that fateful morning went over an embankment and into the sea. 7 of the students on board died. 5 of the bodies were recovered and 2 are still unaccounted for. At a memorial service held at the Fancy Government School, Area Representative Montgomery Daniel noted that it could not have been easy for a small community as Fancy to lose so many of its youngsters all at once. He commended the grieving families and the entire community of Fancy for holding hands together to get them through such a difficult period.
When I visit from time to time, I would have seen in them the things that bind us together that were much greater than the things that separated us. So today, we reflect on the past as a people and as a community, and where the future can possibly take us.
Making reference to the biblical story of Job, Daniel questioned whether the tragedy 2 years ago was a test of time for the families and the community of Fancy.
But within that story, I also gather that behind every dark hour there is a silver lining. And so, within the darkest hours of that tragic moment at rock bottom, right here in Fancy, I saw great teamwork and togetherness. I saw families holding hands within and between families. I saw many reached out and lending a helping hand.
Members of the Pope family in the United Kingdom have made a tremendous contribution to persons in Sandy Bay who are affected by the November 2016 floods. A resident of the community expressed gratitude to the Pope family for their kindness during their time of need.
Grateful for the gift that was given to us by the Garifuna organization in America. All our friends and loved ones over there, we are saying to you, thank you and God bless you, especially for this new year, that things may go on well with you. And we, when it's time for us to assist you, I'm sure that we'll be able to render our assistance. Thank you again. Now, we also got some monies from two of our loved ones. A brother from England, Mr. Pope, and his family gave us 150 pounds. And Brother Lewis, another member of the church in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, he has also given us $1,000. We have that money to be distributed to those who lost everything.
And the Garifuna indigenous peoples of SVG, based in New York, donated several items to persons in Sandy Bay affected by the recent trough system, which caused significant damage to the North Windward community. The items include a refrigerator, cooker, food items, clothing, toiletries, among others. President of the organization, Marcina Ballantyne, was on hand to present the various items which the recipients say they are grateful for.
Of the Garifuna Indigenous People, St. Vincent and Grenadines, based in Brooklyn, and all those other organizations that came together, we present you with this electric cooker to your sister Sylvanie Hoyt, and we do hope that it would help in some way or the other. We are sorry that she have lost all of her household items, but we do hope that this will help in some way.
Yes, I just want to say thanks on the behalf of the organization and to Sister Mercy. We want to put God first in everything that he do and what she has done for us, and it's a big thanks and it's a big help.
Prince Matisse, on behalf of the Garifuna Indigenous People, St. Vincent and Grenadines, based in Brooklyn, I present to you this refrigerator. And I do empathize with you that you've lost everything, but I'm hoping that the refrigerator would be of some help to you as you go forward. Okay, so go ahead.
So I would like to say thanks very much to you all and whosoever helped. Thank you very much.
The gathering of the items was also supported by SVG's Consul General in New York and other organizations in New York and surrounding cities. A series of public consultations will be held by the Ministry of Economic Planning, Industry and Information beginning January 31st to seek feedback from stakeholders to finalize the National Broadband Plan, which aims to bridge the digital divide by further advancing the delivery of high-speed broadband in SVG. The World Bank-funded Caribbean Regional Communication Infrastructure Program, CACIP, has developed the first draft of the National Broadband Plan, the NBP, for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. National broadband plans are important mechanisms which governments can use to set visions and strategies on how technology can move a country forward. Broadband adoption has demonstrated the greatest impact on the growth of the gross domestic product. the GDP. The National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, the NTRC, played a substantive role in the development of this first draft of the NBP, which is expected to address the critical gaps and unexploited opportunities with broadband and recommend ways in which the government of SVG can stimulate private sector investments, innovations, lower prices, increase speeds, improve quality of service, and provide better options for citizens. The National Broadband Plan is expected to be implemented over the next 5-year period and is intended to remove barriers hindering information communication, technology, ICT, and broadband development in this country. The ministry will host the media launch on January 17th at 10 a.m. at the conference room of the Ministry of Economic Planning located in the financial complex to mark the commencement of these consultations.